Hey everybody, welcome to my studio. My name is Ken from Whistleberry Arts, and I shoot my junk. And we are going to be talking about
Popeye the Sailor.
Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Mezco 112 action figure. This is not an unboxing video. There's 1,000 of those online already. We'll be talking about the contents of the box, however. We'll look at the figure itself, the accessories that it comes with, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Popeye. Very briefly, only because it's kind of interesting to me anyways. And it did just go into the public domain, so be ready. There will be a glut of Popeye stuff coming out. More on that another time, I suppose. Let's talk about Mezco 112, Popeye the Sailor Man. So the box itself presents really nicely. I'm not a box keeper myself, but maybe you are, or you want to keep your stuff in the box or for presentation or for moving or whatever. But the box is really nice. It's got a nice cartoon graphic on the front, some graphics on the side. On the back is really nice. It shows all of the things that come with it, the accessories, the stand, the different sort of things that come with the figure itself, and some promo shots as well. So Popeye is believed to be based on a real guy named Rocky Figel from Chester, Illinois, although he wasn't actually a sailor. He was a laborer, a hard-working guy who was known to be very, very kind, especially to kids. But he was a tough guy too. He was a brawler, a fighter. He wouldn't pass up an opportunity to show off feats of strength and power, and he would just wreck pubs, bars, taverns. He was a barroom brawler. What he didn't realize, of course, though, was that he would become the inspiration for one of the most iconic characters of all time. So what's kind of interesting about Popeye is that he wasn't intended to be an actual character with any kind of substance. He was a one and done in a cartoon called Thimble Theater. And he was just a sailor. His job was to just take a guy, Castor Oil, one of the characters in Thimble Theater, on some kind of little river raft journey or something like that. But he proved so popular that they brought him back as a regular character, and he became the focus of the character. So this was in the early 1920s. By 1933, though, he was such a popular star that he was in the cartoon business with Betty Boop in a short that was appropriately titled Popeye the Sailor. Eventually, he would go on to become the star of his own animated shorts. In 1980, a movie was made, a live-action film that starred Robin Williams in his first starring role. And of course, there was a virtual endless supply of Popeye merchandise that hit the market. Toys, wind-up toys, dolls, you name it. Merchandising is nothing new. It's been around for a very, very long time. And so that is what brings us to the Mezco Popeye. So I am absolutely obsessed with this figure. I love it. I'm an avid action figure collector, have been for quite some time. And this is, without a doubt, my favorite figure I've got so far. It's my first Mezco, certainly not my last. I love them. I love the scale. They're fun to play with, and they're fun to photograph, which is what I do with my toys, of course. And I will show you a few things that I've done with this figure already. He's become my sole focus point at this point. I love it so much. But what makes this character so incredible? Well, first of all, there's the detail. I don't think it really comes through in the video here, but the sculpt on this face is incredible. Lots of all the little crags and nooks and crannies, the wrinkles, even the way that the skin is sort of mottled and got like sunspots and stuff. This is a guy who spent his life outside on the water. He's got skin like leather. It's really incredible. You can see it better on his arms. Like, you can just see that the skin detail is absolutely fantastic. My only real complaint about the skin detail is the ball joints here. I wish that they had made an effort to do something to even make that plastic just a little darker, so that it was a little more in tune with the forearm. Of course, that giant Popeye forearm in the hands. But, you know, with a little Photoshop work, that can be fixed up. Another thing that I really appreciate is the fact that the tattoos, they look real. And one thing I hate in movies, this is now 2025, and in all of the incredible effects work that can be done In modern cinema technology, very, very seldom is there a tattoo that looks real when it's a stick-on tattoo, and I really hate it. But they made an effort to really make this tattoo look like it's been on there for a while. It's soft and it's faded and it's not a stark pitch black. They only look like that when they're fresh. So I really appreciate that little attention to detail. Another thing that I really love is just, you can't see it so much, well, a little bit on these hands, but the hand sculpt is just as impressive as the head sculpt. And you'll see the torso in a little bit as well, the musculature there. But they even pay attention to things like the dirt in his fingernails. And I'll show you that when I show you some of the other features. But I mean, again, this is a guy that's been working the docks. This is a tough, hard-living, hard-fighting, hard-working guy. The boots are very, very cool. They look like the old 1930s, 1940s kind of work boot. Also very weathered, great detail in those boots and in the stitching and the lacing and everything. The legs also sculpted really well. Like, these are the big tough calves that you would see on a guy like this. I do wish that they had made the legs look similar to the skin on the arms, but I don't know how often, you know, this guy will be without his pants. So I guess that's what they kind of figured. It doesn't really matter that much. The clothing is fantastic as well. It's durable, right? He's got these denim bell bottoms. They're really fantastic. They're very, very loose fitting, and they move nicely with the articulation and the character. The shirt, same thing. The shirt's a little bit tight. When you want to take the shirt off of this character, it's a little bit of a challenge. It's a bigger challenge getting it back on though. I would suggest doing so very, very carefully and delicately. The same thing with this bib on the back of his sailor vest. It's really cool. It's nice, soft. It's not wired, so you can't really pose it, but it still looks pretty good. And of course, the little details. I'll be honest with you, in all the years as a little kid when I would watch Popeye, it never occurred to me that this is a rolled up sleeve, that this is, no, I thought this, assumed, I guess, that this was the cuff of his like short sleeve shirt, but it's not. A sailor's tunic is long sleeve, so he's got them rolled up. So silly me. The buttons, little plastic buttons here, little rubber buttons. They seem to be pretty well stuck on. There's also buttons on his pants, but these are just little plastic appliques, and I'm a little worried that they may eventually start to fall off with a little bit of wear and tear on the figures. So just something to be aware of. The other thing is he comes with a bunch of accessories, including a series of different caps, and we'll go through that in a minute. But what I like about it is there's a little magnet you can see here, and there's obviously a magnet in his head, so you can stick it on his head and it's not going to fall off. So you can move it around, pose it, do whatever you want to it, and you're not going to lose it. The articulation itself is really good. He's got lots of movement in his arms. The clothes don't really restrict it too badly. Same with the elbows. The knees are really good. A little bit of restricted movement in the hips, but that's, you know, not a make it or break it kind of detail. Overall, I really like the articulation. I wish his head moved down a little more. It doesn't really bend down so much, but it really goes up quite nicely. And of course, you can move it around and so on. So these are all the accessories that come with it. It comes with quite a bit. You've got the spinach can, which is nice and pristine, looks a little weathered. They really pay a lot of attention to the detail here, which I'm really impressed with. As I said, this is my first Mezco, and if they're all this detailed, then I'm pretty excited to get other ones. But you know, the patina on the can looks old and weathered. This has been around for a while. He's got the spinach can that he's crushed, of course, and consumed the bulk of its contents, and he's gained his super strength, which is a staple for Popeye, of course. There's other things. I mentioned the hats. We've got the sailor cap, as I said, right? Their standard sailor cap. He's also got his, I guess it's a captain's cap. The captain's cap that he would wear while piloting the boat. And a black beanie, longshoreman's cap. So this is cool. This one does not have the magnet. This one does. But this clips right nicely onto his head. Quite nicely. It fits right on there. So it doesn't need the magnet. So this is the alternate head. Again, the sculpting is absolutely amazing. I like the shading and the detail here more. Like his beard looks like it's coming in after a day or so of not shaving. There's a little more detail in his wrinkles and things. And the only difference here is the gritted teeth on this side that the other head does not have. It's a closed mouth. You've got alternate hands as well for gripping. So here's his right hand for gripping, This is his left hand for gripping, and this is great because it'll actually clip onto the spinach can that he's crushing, and the can is molded right to this hand. And there you can see too the detail in the knuckles and in the dirty fingernails and things. So it's really impressive that they paid attention to those kind of details. And then he's got his open hands, again, very detailed, very dirty. These are the hands of a guy that does a lot of hard work for a living. So very cool. The other hands, of course, you've got the one pointing hand and fists as well. It comes with a pea coat. I haven't put this on the figure yet. I've seen other videos where people tried to put it on over top of his sailor's tunic, and it doesn't fit very well. So I think you have to take the tunic off to put the pea coat on. I don't know how often I'll use this, but it comes in a little pack anyways. You've got his rucksack or duffel bag. This comes empty. I guess you could put all these accessories in it. I just stuffed it with some steel wool stuff that I had because it's soft and mushy, so you can kind of shape the bag a little bit when you want to. It comes with a couple of other accessories like this spyglass, which is actually collapsible, right? So you can extend it. You can extend it or you can collapse it. And it comes with a little compass, and this compass opens up as well. Again, nice little details that they didn't have to include, but they do. And there's even actually some pretty good detail inside as well. And finally, it comes with these pipes. And this is really smart because they did two things. A couple of things. Well, the first thing they did, of course, is they give you two options. They give you the pipe without the smoke, and then they give you the pipe with the smoke as well. I prefer when I'm doing my photography to add the smoke in post. I think it looks a little more realistic when you can add a wisp of smoke instead of this plastic molded smoke. But I appreciate that they offer those two options. The other thing, of course, is they give you 3 of each, which is even more appreciative because these are tiny. They're itty bitty. And if you're like me and you grew up in the Star Wars generation, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vacuum cleaners that are responsible for gobbling up accessories like Stormtrooper blasters and Yoda canes and things like that. So these are absolutely fodder for Vacuum Monster of Doom. So I guess they assume you're going to lose them, and so they would give you extras. But the other thing that I noticed, and this is another reason why here, is this pipe I tried to put into Popeye's mouth the other day, and the stem broke. So I guess this is another reason why they give you 6 of them all together, so that if you lose one or you break one, you've got something to back up. So there's one of the heads with the pipe in the mouth. You can see that it just kind of pulls out and pushes in. One thing I notice is that on this head with the gritted teeth, that pipe goes in much easier than the one with the regular head. This one, this little pipe hole is actually smaller. I'm having a hard time even doing it. My hands are shaking like crazy too. So this pipe hole is much smaller, so that might take a little more effort and concentration than I can manage at the moment. Well, there you go. So I kind of got it wedged in there, and it's okay, but it's not really in there very snugly as compared to the original one, or the optional head, which goes in quite nicely and is held quite securely. Another thing that's really cool actually, and again, I don't know if this is standard for Mezco, but they send along in the box, you get this little pouch, this little plastic pouch, and it puts all your accessories in there. Of course, I use Ziplocs for virtually everything else I have, so it's not a big deal to not have this pouch. Again, you could just use a Ziploc bag, which I do, but I mean, the fact that they just include it is really appreciated. So as far as interchanging the parts go, it's really easy. I have other figures where it's virtually impossible. You have to heat up the pegs, or you have to heat up the little peg holes, or you have to drill out the peg holes a little bit in order to swap out the alternate hands and heads and things like that. And it's really, really a nuisance. I do a lot of outdoor photography, and when you have to worry about those things, something falling off and getting lost in the grass or between the cracks of a rock or something, it's really a nuisance. So I really appreciate how easy they made these. So here is, I'm just going to swap hands first of all. So here's one of his gripping hands, And I'm just gonna pop this off, and it just pops off so nice and easy because it's rubber, it's soft. Which another thing that I really appreciate is that this is soft rubber. You know, so if you're trying to put something into his hand, you've got some play. When it's more rigid plastic, you have to really be careful. And I've done it where I've snapped off a thumb or something like that, trying to put something into the character's hand for a photo that they're not really designed to carry. So just push it back on, and it goes on, and just like that. And then you want to swap it back, just pull it out, put it back, and you're good to go. It's true for both hands as well. Pops right off, sticks right on, and the head, same thing. You hear that nice little pop. Pop the other head right back on, and away you go. So really, really simple. Now, I mentioned earlier that taking this tunic on and off is really, really difficult, and I'm not going to do it in this video just because it is a real hassle, but I will show you how to do it. So first thing you want to do is pop off the head. The next thing you want to do is pop off the forearms, and just like the hands, they just pop off really nice and easy. Okay, so you've got the joint there. You can just pull it off, pull the other one off, and then you just lift up his head. Oh, what the heck, I'll take it off. It's a hassle, but whatever. And then you just pull the tunic up. There's some details here to show you anyways, but you can see how it really pulls tight on the shirt, and I'm really worried that it's gonna pop a seam or something. So I'm gonna do this sparingly, but it is possible, or the buttons might pop off or something. But what's really cool, it's kind of weird looking without his arms and his head, but look at the muscles in the sculpt. Like, this is meant to be shown as a topless photo as well, or a bare-chested photo as well. And I know that that's true, not just because they put all of the detail into giving him a belly button and abs and ripples in his chest, but he's got this cool tattoo on the back as well. And again, it's soft and kind of bluish and faded looking. So again, it looks like a real tattoo. I can't overstate how much I appreciate the fact that they made the tattoos look real. Again, you've got some good torso articulation here, some decent torso at the waist. You can give him a little turn to the left or to the right. Not a whole lot, but that's okay. But again, you get all this definition in his arms, his muscle structure and things like that. So it's really cool. So the bottom line is that this Mezco 1-12 Popeye figure is an absolutely amazing figure. And there are a couple of other variations. There was a 2-pack with Bluto where he's got white pants and a different shirt, and I think that one also comes with a rain slicker as well, which is really cool. I missed the boat on that one, and looking for it online. It's very, very expensive, so I don't know that I'll be getting one anytime soon, unless I'm really, really lucky and find one in the wild for a reasonable price. But if you're looking for a really, really cool figure, something, even if you're not a photographer like I am and a number of other people, if you want something that's just really gonna look great standing up on your toy shelf, this is a figure to get. Now, maybe you're wondering, Ken, what do you do with these figures? Well, that's how I'm going to end off the video. I photograph them. I'm a toy photographer, among other things. And so here are a couple of my shots that I've done specifically with this guy right here. I'm obsessed with him right now. I cannot get enough of this figure. So enjoy. And if you're inspired, get out there and shoot your junk.